Hello, welcome students. As you know, in the previous class, we began the introduction of damped harmonic oscillator. We defined what is a damped harmonic oscillator and what is the reason for the damping of an oscillator. And we have also seen different special cases for a damped harmonic oscillator. And we considered a underdamped oscillator, and we could obtain the equation, both the differential equation and its solution for a underdamped harmonic oscillator. Today we will continue with the discussion on a damped harmonic oscillator with the two other special cases. One is critically damped oscillation and overdamped oscillation. Okay, so in the last class we have seen the differential equation of a damped harmonic oscillator, and the solution was also discussed. We found how it is solved and we got the expression for x. Okay, so that's for the solution. And depending on the values of gamma and omega 0, we had different cases in which underdamped case was discussed. Today we will discuss the next two cases. One is critically damped oscillation in which gamma equals to omega 0, and last one, or the third one, is called overdamped oscillation. Okay, these are our main points for discussion today. Okay, so in critically damped oscillation, what you can see is gamma is equal to omega 0. So when gamma is equal to omega 0, what will happen to the equations? You see, gamma is equal to omega 0 means the square root term the radical become 0. Understand? These both square root become 0. So what is left is a1 e raised to minus gamma t. Understand? Plus a2 e raised to minus gamma t. Two terms are coming, both are e raised to minus gamma t. Okay. So this is the possible result. So you can write, you can combine a1 and a2 now. So a1 plus a2 e raised to minus gamma t. Or a1 plus a2, that can be made equal to some other constant, say a. So we get the final solution as x of t is equal to a e raised to minus gamma t. Okay. But there are so many problems. Okay, because this is a second order differential equation. Our equation is a second order differential equation. And in mathematics, if you want to solve a second order differential equation, we should have two constants. We should have two constants. But in this case, you can see that we have only one constant. That means when you apply the boundary conditions, we get only the value of a. Okay, not a1 and a2. We get only the value of a. But that is not enough for expressing the complete full solution of a second order differential equation. Okay, that's the problem. So we assume, in that case we assume that this square root term, that is equal to some non-zero value. Okay, previously we said that this is equal to 0. Okay, when it is 0, that differential equation will not be completely solved. So in order to completely solve, we assume that it is having some small value. Let's assume that this h is a small value. Okay, not 0, or very small value. When it is small, what we can do? We can again write here h, square root of gamma square minus omega 0 square is assumed as h. Okay, so when you put h here, you can use any notation, but here we use h only. So when you put h here, we can write x of t is equal to a1 e raised to minus gamma plus ht, and second term will be a2 e raised to minus gamma minus ht. For h is small, a very small quantity. Okay, we can be imagining that gamma is almost equal to omega 0, so that the difference is some very small value. Okay, so we wrote it. Then what we can do? Here now you can see e raised to minus gamma t is common in both the terms. Here also e raised to minus gamma t is there. Here also e raised to minus gamma t is there. You can take it outside. So what is left inside the bracket? You have a1 e raised to ht plus h2 e raised to minus ht. Okay, where gamma is the damping constant. Okay, h is the value we have taken for this h, and you can expand e raised to ht. E raised to x, e raised to x is equal to 1 plus x square by 2 factorial. It goes on like that. So using that formula, we can expand e raised to ht and e raised to minus ht. E raised to ht is given like this: 1 plus hd plus h square d square by 2, like that. Similarly, e raised to minus ht is also expanded. So you have 1 minus ht plus h square t square by so on. Okay, it goes on like that. Okay, so what we can do now, since I have told that h is very small quantity, it is a small quantity, so h square will be again much smaller than h. Okay, so you can see the third, fourth term, etc. will be very small, negligibly small. Okay, so you can neglect higher terms, so we can write it as simply using first two terms, 1 plus ht and 1 minus ht. Okay, so we get x of t is equal to e raised to minus gamma t into a1 into 1 plus ht plus a2 into 1 minus ht. Okay, other terms, higher terms are neglected, because if the number is small, then its square will be again much smaller than the number itself. Because 0.1, if you squared it, we will get a 0.01. Okay, that is much smaller than 0.1. Because of that reason, you write like this. Okay, I hope the idea is clear. Now what we can do, we can take a1 from the first term and a2 from the second term, writing a1 plus a2, and second one a1 minus a2 ht. Okay, so now a1 plus a2 and a1 minus a2. So you can place a1 plus a2 is equal to some other constant, say p, and a1 minus a2 is equal to say q by h, some other constant. Q is some other constant. So we can rewrite this equation as x of t is equal to e raised to minus gamma t into p plus qt. P plus qt. Okay. So we got the solution now. But we know that p and q are some constant we have assumed. Its value has to be evaluated. Its value of p and q have to be evaluated. So let us do its evaluation. We want to calculate the value of p and q. So we have now x of t. You can apply what is called initial conditions. You can apply initial conditions, then you will get the value of p and q. So initial condition means when time t is equal to 0, we can apply. Similarly, you can find velocity, and we can again apply when time is t is equal to 0. So first let us apply when time is equal to 0. When time is equal to 0, x, say you take it x0. Okay. So what will happen to this equation? You can see that you can write e raised to minus gamma 0 plus into p plus q into 0 is equal to p. That is equal to x0. That is equal to x0. Okay. We got the first boundary condition, or from the first boundary condition we got the value of p, that is equal to x0. Okay. And secondly, we want to find the q also. Let us differentiate first this one. Okay, differentiate this, then we can again apply the boundary conditions. You can differentiate it. We got d by dt e raised to gamma t into p plus qt. Okay, so differentiation of x will give you the velocity. So you can write velocity is equal to e raised to minus gamma t into q. Okay, plus p plus qt into minus gamma e raised to minus gamma t. Okay, you can see very simple. We are differentiating using the product rule. This is one function. This is the second function. Okay, first function into differential of the second. Similarly, second function into differential of the first function, minus gamma e raised to minus gamma t. Again, you can apply the boundary condition time t is equal to 0. You can take it as velocity is equal to v0. So what we will get, v0 is equal to e raised to minus gamma 0 into q plus e plus q into 0. Okay, we are applying time t is equal to 0. So what we get, you get okay, only this will be remaining, this will become 0. So subsequently we get v0 is equal to q minus gamma p. Okay, all the remaining terms become, this is 1, okay, e raised to minus 0 is 1, e raised to minus 0 is 1. So you can see that v0 is equal to, by putting t is equal to 0, we get v0 is equal to q minus gamma p. And in which p is already known to us, that is x0. So q can be found. Q can be found. So q is equal to gamma x0. v0 is equal to, so v0 is equal to q minus gamma x0. So q can be found. Q is equal to v0 plus gamma x0. So this way we got the value of both p and q. So substituting p and q, we get the actual, the final expression for the value of x. X of t is equal to e raised to minus gamma t into x0 plus v0 plus gamma x0 into t. Okay, so this is a final solution. It seems to be a complicated number, a complicated function. No, you can easily understand it. Let us interpret its physical meaning. What is the physical interpretation of this equation? X of t is equal to, what kind of a curve is it? In fact, you will get a curve. Okay? You are drawing a curve between time and x. Time and x. Okay? Time and x. So, what we are getting is, its meaning is that initially displacement increases due to the factor x0 plus v0 plus gamma x0 into t. Initially it increases. Okay, it's in the graph. And okay, it is increasing. But what happens at that time? E raised to minus gamma t is an exponentially decreasing number. Exponentially decreasing number. So its effect will be decreasing. So initially increasing, but due to the effect of the second term, second factor e raised to minus gamma t, exponential factor, now the curve goes decreasing. Curve goes decreasing with time. Okay, so and you can also see that there is no oscillation at all. This curve is simply damping, its amplitude is getting decreased with no oscillations. Okay, so in a critically damped case, in fact no oscillation happens, and oscillator will simply come down to the equilibrium value without any oscillation. Even though you used to put some excitation on the oscillator, but oscillator will not oscillate at all. Okay, you can get some like example, if you put some oscillation in a heavy viscous liquid, some viscous oil, and execute oscillation, you will see that the oscillator will not execute any oscillation. Instead, its amplitude of oscillation goes on decreasing to 0. Okay, so that is a good example for critically damped case. And such oscillations are called aperiodic oscillation or critically damped oscillation. Two names are there: aperiodic or critically damped oscillation. Okay, so critical damping is often a desired day-to-day phenomena in many machineries because such a system returns to equilibrium rapidly and remains at equilibrium as well. Okay, so this is used in many cars, vehicles, trains, etc. In flight, aeroplanes, because whenever suppose a car is getting hit on a bump, so naturally an oscillation will be thrown out. But the spring systems are made in such a way that it do not oscillate too much. Oscillation is suddenly damped out. Okay, vanish out. So this kind of arrangements are made in vehicles in order to stop too much of oscillation. If there is too much of oscillation, that may hamper, okay, that may disturb the free driving of a car or a vehicle. Understand? And it happens in the shortest time possible without overshooting or oscillating. Okay, overshooting means going to the other side, other extreme. Okay, so by stopping oscillation, we can have a free drive, especially with cars and even flight. When flight takes a landing, if the springs are not arranged in such a way, in critically damped way, flight will begins to oscillate, so that will disturb its free motion, free onward motion. Okay, these are some special examples which we can point out for critically damped oscillations. Now here, so far we discussed the underdamped oscillation and critically damped oscillation. Now let us move on to the third category, that is called overdamped oscillation, in which gamma is greater than omega 0. Gamma greater than omega 0. Okay, so what will happen to this solution when gamma is greater than omega 0? This correlated quantity will be a positive number. Okay, this will be a positive number. Okay, when this is a positive number, and it will be less than gamma, this will be less than gamma. So what happens? Exponential will be having a negative value. Both term, exponential will have a negative value. That physically means that since both are exponentially negative, both factor will lead to decrease in amplitude, sudden decrease in amplitude. Understand? So the first term will become now, suppose you put gamma square minus omega 0 square is equal to beta, some beta. Understand? Then you can rewrite the above equation as x of t is equal to a1 e raised to minus gamma plus beta t. Beta is less than, keep in mind, beta is less than gamma. So what happened? This net value will be negative. Similarly, second term minus gamma minus beta, this should be having a net value negative. Okay, so both are negative in quantity. So as a result, both exponential term in the above expression decreases with time. Hence, the motion becomes completely non-oscillatory. That means there is no oscillation at all. Simply, when the oscillator is excited, it gradually comes to equilibrium value without any oscillation. Okay. In such systems, when system is disturbed, it will return to the equilibrium very slowly and does not constitute a periodic motion. Okay, there is no oscillation at all. Okay, it is simply coming to the equilibrium value, and such oscillations are called deadbeat or aperiodic. And this kind of motion is used in galvanometer. Okay, in galvanometer, excitation lead to the turning of a needle inside a galvanometer. Okay, that is not executing oscillatory motion. It simply trigger from one point and stands on pointing some reading, particular reading, without any oscillation. Okay, that is made possible using this kind of a deadbeat oscillatory system. Okay, that's a good example. And now let us sum up whatever we discussed in the last two videos under the title damped harmonic oscillator. We discussed the three types of oscillation. Okay, with underdamped system moves quickly to equilibrium, but will oscillate about the equilibrium point several times. That is the case of a underdamped oscillation. Whereas critically damped system, it moves as quickly as possible towards the equilibrium without oscillating about the equilibrium. Okay, that is the case with the red one. Red one shows how fast this is a critically damped oscillation. It does not engage in any oscillation, simply comes down to the equilibrium value. Okay, the third case, the violet one, you can see is an overdamped example. An overdamped system moves slowly towards equilibrium but never oscillates. You can understand the difference between a critically damped and a overdamped example. In overdamped, it takes a lot of time to come to the equilibrium. Whereas for a critically damped case, oscillator come as fast as possible to the equilibrium. Whereas for the underdamped case, there is oscillation. Even though amplitude is decreasing, still there is no oscillation. This way you can distinguish all the three different cases of damped oscillatory system. Okay, for your visual clarity, a more magnified picture is given, which highlights all the three cases separately. Okay, so now we can summarize our discussion this way. a damped harmonic oscillator encounter with non-conservative forces that dissipate the energy. Okay, it is essentially because of the presence of some non-conservative forces. That can be a frictional force, it can be some viscous force, okay, any spring force. That is the reason for the dissipation of energy. And in the first case, an underdamped system will oscillate through the equilibrium portion with decreasing amplitude. And the second case, a critically damped oscillator returns the system to the equilibrium as fast as possible without overshooting. And final case is an overdamped system moves more slowly towards equilibrium than one that is critically damped. Okay, so graphically we have understood the difference between critical damping and over damping. Okay, so these are the main points that we discussed in the last two videos, last two modules. Now here is an interesting assignment for you. Okay, assignment number 1. How would a car bounce after crossing a bump under each of the following conditions? So a car is hitting some bump. Okay, so in different cases that we discussed earlier, what will happen to the car? Suppose the overdamping is happening to the car, then what will happen? Suppose underdamping is happening, what will happen to the car? Suppose critical damping is happening to the car, what will happen? So already we have highlighted with examples. Now you can write this answer to this question very easily. Okay. Okay, it's a very day-to-day life example, so I am sure that you can write the answer to this question. Here's the assignment number 2. You can see some differential equation: d square x by dt square plus dx by dt plus 3x is equal to 0. This is showing the differential equation of a damped harmonic oscillator. Okay, this is the differential equation. So here is the question: show that the system shown by the above equation is a underdamped oscillator. You know what is the condition for a underdamped oscillator? We have already written. Okay, here you can get the values of gamma, omega 0, etc. from this equation. You can compare with the standard equation. Then obviously you will get the value of gamma, omega 0. Then prove that whether it satisfies underdamped oscillator condition. Okay, that you can do, I am sure. Second question is, calculate its damped angular frequency. Okay, so that means you have to calculate omega. You have the relation between gamma, omega 0 and omega. Okay, relation between omega, omega 0 and gamma, out of which you can get the value of omega. So that is the question demands. And the question number 3, also plot a graph for the solution of the above equation with initial conditions x of 0 is equal to 1 and v of 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so you have the solution for this damped harmonic oscillator under damped case. Clear equation is there, okay, in which you can give the values of gamma and all other values, then plot it in a graph paper and just take the photo, snap and upload in the Google Classroom. Okay, so a very beautiful question. I am sure you can do it and you will enjoy it. Okay, so here is the additional question. It is not compulsory, but if you do it, it is good for your exam purpose. An object of mass 0.2 kilogram is hung from a spring whose spring constant is 80 Newton per meter. The object is subjected to a resistive force given by minus Vb, where V is the velocity in meters per second. Set up the differential equation of motion for free oscillations of the system. Okay, you know the standard form of second order differential equation for a damped oscillator. You can extract the values of many constants from the given values, then you write the standard differential equation. And here is the second question: if the damped frequency is √3 by 2, okay, that is you must keep that it is not omega 0, it is f0. Oh, sorry, it's not omega, it is f. You have to find the angular frequency out of it. But here no hertz is given. Okay, clear? Now it is not given in hertz, so you can assume that it is actually omega, not f. Understand? You know the difference between angular frequency and frequency. So here, since the unit is not mentioned, you make it sure that it is omega. So you can find the undamped frequency and value of constant B. Okay, velocity dependent impedance. Okay, that is what is B indicate. Okay, when velocity is there, there is a damping force that is accounted by the value B. You can definitely find it. Okay, I'm sure you will enjoy doing this problem. Okay, so with these comments, let us close today's class. Have a nice day. Thank you.